Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos with Wilcuts Homes, and I'm so excited to be on this show today. Got a lot of interesting perspectives, a lot of great information for all of you prospective home buyers here in the state of Washington. Before that, I'd like to introduce our host,
Yaret Lopez with Lopez Home Loans.
Yaret. We are so excited at Wilcuts Homes to have the opportunity to work alongside with you. What's going on in the market here in Washington State?
The market. Let's talk about rates first. I think, right?
Yeah, sure.
Rates, I think, is the question that everybody has right now. Is like, what are the rates going to do? And rates are going to keep going up. That's what we've been hearing about. That's what I've been reading about it.
Wow.
And the thing is, let's start by focusing in even on rent. You are paying a rate, but you're paying 100% in rate. So I think it's better to pay a 7%. It's something that's going to create you wealth at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting comparison that you're making. Anytime you're renting, none of that money is going to be returned to you. So if you're renting today, you are losing out and you're losing money.
Yes, you are losing money. It's just throwing money away. When you buy in a house, it's an investment. A house is an investment. And like we were talking before we start the video, marry the house, date the rate.
Yes. Wow, what an interesting perspective. That's true. Because you can always change it.
Yes,
right?
You can always change the rate.
Yeah, I think it's some important information. I think when it comes down to the Hispanic community, one of the things that I'm seeing is, okay, am I stuck with that rate for 30 years?
No, you're not. You're not. So it's a fixed rate, but you can refinance the rate. And right now, there's a lot of programs going on. We have programs that the 2-1 buy down, right?
Wow.
You can lock the rate for the first 2 years. For the first year, the second year changes, and the third year goes back to the rate that you should have right now, right?
Wow.
But you can refinance out of that program. You don't have to stay the 3 years when the rate is going to make the change to go up to whatever rate that you lock at the first time when you bought it.
Yeah, it's so important to think about, okay, I want to buy a house. I'm excited about it. I've been thinking about it. I've been dreaming, believing about it. What is your message to the community? What is that first step? What do we need to do?
The first step is education and credit.
Education and credit. Wow. Let's talk about education a little bit.
Education. Call people, read, sometimes I don't say watch news because the news can, the drama there is on the news. I believe they put so much drama on it, but ask us, call us and ask what's happening with the market. We are going to be honest with you guys. We're going to tell you the question they always ask. Is it time to buy a house, right? We're going to be honest with you. We still buying houses right now. We just bought my mom's house right now in this market. Why? Because I believe there's an investment, and that investment is going to grow. Next year, that house is going to be worth more. Right? And what we're doing right now is going to affect our kids, our next generations to come. And I'm proud to say, Carlos, that the Hispanic community is the one that is growing the most of being a homeowners, which makes me really proud as a being Latino. Definitely. That we're growing in wherever we were before. Like you said before we were talking, we're here to stay and we're here to grow, and we want to create wealth for us too and for generations to come.
Yeah, and it's so important to go to the source, right? Many times what we struggle with is we listen to rumors, we listen to, like you said, news that is just always negative, and then you've got the cousin or el tío or el primo, el compadre, and they bought a house at a different time in a different market with different programs, and you would agree, not one file, not one deal is the same.
It's the same, yes, and they don't understand that. Like you said, mi primo, mi tío did this, and I want the same thing. It doesn't happen because your credit is different from the other person. Your debts are different from the other person. So every file is different. That's what I love most about loans, that every file is different and we can always learn from them and grow and find solutions for the next people that comes and see us, right?
Yeah. So for the community that's listening, what would you say, because then you mentioned credit, what are those things that you would just say, just quick shoot out tips that you would say, hey, watch this, because maybe some people don't realize credit's that important.
Credit is important because it's going to affect you not only when you're buying a home, but when you buy a car, when you buy credit cards, for everything that you want to purchase on credit, it's going to affect you, whatever your credit score is. And my tip will be, don't use, or if you have a $3,000 credit card, don't use the whole $3,000. right? Because then you are over debt. And a lot of people, they're like, well, in United States, they want me to be in debt in order to have credit. No, if you use a dollar, that dollar is not yours anymore. So you're in debt already for that dollar, right?
Right.
So you have to use the minimum you can by using every month, because history creates by using your credit. Every payment you make is 35% of that. It creates your credit score.
I think there's so much pain that comes with the idea of not knowing.
Yes.
And many times there are things that we weren't necessarily taught. I know personally, these things that you're saying are things I wish I knew 10 years ago.
Correct.
And I think about where I would be in my life. But we're so lucky that we get to be in a position where we can say, hey, don't do this.
We make those mistakes.
Right.
We make those mistakes. I make those mistakes when I was younger. Nobody taught me credit. So I want to use my credit cards, right? All of it to the max. And I thought I was just going to pay $5,000, right? But no, you end up paying a lot more for that money that you use because it's not yours. And the interest that you pay on it, but because having bad credit, it's going to affect you on every single purchase.
And it's so interesting because, again, back to that thing, I've heard, they're no longer calling me, so I'm fine. Or I'll get to it later. I'll pay it off later. I'll make that call later on. And then when we want to accomplish something big in life, we can't make that next step because we've got these unresolved issues that pop up in a credit report, right?
Yes. So it's always good. For my tip will be, don't use everything the balance on your credit cards. Make your payments on time. Payment is what kills your credit the most.
Yeah.
And keep using it every month. The usage of the credit cards is going to create your history, and that's what's going to create your credit score.
Yeah.
So you want to use it all the time. Don't get in debt. Don't use too much. You can use the minimum that you can just to make those payments and create that history.
Yeah. I think before we end this, I want to challenge you a little bit. She's not ready for this question, but I think she's always ready because she's in this atmosphere all the time. What is being a homeowner meant to you? And what does that mean for you, your community, your background? If you can speak into that, because I think there's so many people that watch your show every Friday and they're like, well, what must that be like? Maybe it's easy for her, but it's going to be very hard for me. And maybe you're not as strange or as unique as other people might say, right? Your case or your situation.
Well, Carlos, I bought my first house when I was 18. And I bought it when it was before the 2007, 2008. And I can tell you much. We did buy a loan, but there was variable interest rate, right?
Wow.
And nobody explained that to me.
Sure.
I didn't know about it. I was 18 years old. I didn't know nothing about credit.
Yeah.
I knew I had credit cards and I knew I had debt,
Right.
but I didn't know how much credit affected me when I bought the house. And nobody explained it to me. And nobody told me I was buying a variable interest rate and then I was going to lose the house if the rates went up, right? So I can tell you, for learning from those mistakes, and that's what the focus right now is for me, is I don't want the mistakes I make. If I can help someone understand what it takes to buy a house and explain to them how every step is going to happen and how they're going to benefit from it, I feel like I'm doing an amazing job, because nobody did that for me when I was younger. Nobody explained to me the things that I was getting into. And right now, when I do a loan, I want to make sure that people understand, that they're educated on how much it takes for them to get that house, and the big step that we're doing, that dream that is coming true.
Yeah.
So it's a dream. And then my second home, of course, I was more educated. I understood, and I was so happy with what I did, right? Because you learn. The first one was not that great. The second one, now the third one is, and the fourth one coming, it just makes it better, and you understand what are you doing. And I know I'm doing all of this stuff for my family and for my kids.
That's huge. I think many, many people can identify with that, doing that thing for the family and for your kids. And I think that is huge. I think for me, on my side, I'm able to always see a transformation that happens. I have seen people go from home maybe one day to I have one to I'm buying my second, third home, and they just walk different.
Yeah.
They just believe different. They just engage differently. And so anyway, for everyone watching here, I just want to encourage you, if you have questions, if you're excited and really just dreaming and thinking about it, process it out loud, maybe with your immediate family, but then with someone that actually knows. I encourage you to call Yaret. I encourage you to give me a call and my team, and we'd be happy to help you, because at the end of the day, it's about information. So remember to like, to subscribe, to share this video if you found it interesting. And for everyone, my name is Carlos with Will Cuts Homes. I'm at your service.
Yaret Lopez with Lopez Home Loans.
Have a good one. Take
Thank
care.
you.